VTQ Delivery of Results Understanding VTQ Data Submission in Relation to T-Levels. The purpose of this video is to help with the understanding of how to treat a T-level in relation to VTQ data submission. T-levels are two-year programs that comprise of several components including the core, occupational specialism and industry placement. Students are required to complete all components successfully. With a T-level, there are two separate registrations, one for the core and one for the occupational specialism. This means that the VTQ submission data is required for each of these, so for the purposes of the checkpoint data, the core component and the occupational specialism need to be treated independently of each other, almost like they are two entirely different qualifications. For the core component, you are required to provide details on whether a student is due to complete the core element in the current academic year. This means the student is expected to attempt all components or remaining components of the core exams and employer set project in the upcoming series. For example, a student may have previously achieved both papers identified here in green and are now completing the ESP in the current series identified in amber. They would therefore be expecting to achieve the overall core component in the current series. For the occupational specialism, the student is usually registered on this in the first year of the T-level programme, alongside registering for the core component. The occupational specialism is usually completed in the second year of study. This student is not due to complete the occupational specialism component this academic year. So for the checkpoint data, the ESP should be marked as yes for the certification intention and no for the occupational specialism. This student is now in their second year and you can see has already completed the core component identified in green here, but is due to complete the occupational specialism. So for the checkpoint data, they should be marked as yes for the occupational specialism. This example is similar to the first in that they are not due to finish the occupational specialism this academic year, but are expected to complete the core component by completing the paper exams identified here in amber. The ESP has already been completed, identified in green. So for this checkpoint data, the paper exams need to have a yes for the certification intention data. A student should have achieved the core component in an earlier series and are now retaking one or more of the subcomponents. These students will be classed as previously certificated. Here you can see this student needs to retake the ESP identified in green and amber and is due to also complete the occupational specialism identified in amber. So for this checkpoint data, both the ESP and occupational specialism need marking as a yes for their certification intention. The main thing to remember is to treat the core element and the occupational specialism entirely separately from one another. In addition to this, the deciding factor you need to bear in mind is, will the student be looking to achieve the core component or occupational specialism in this academic year? If you have any questions or need any support with this activity, information can be found on the VTQ Information Hub on our website. This includes up-to-date communications on this activity and various guidance documents to help you through the process. If you have any questions, you can also speak to one of our Centre Operations team by phone or by email.